Welcome to Acts Christian Church, where you're the head and not the tail.
The year of unusual favor.
Black children make up 7% of looked after children. With data showing that black children make up 7% of all looked after children, it's important for their well-being and identity as they develop that they are raised in a family that understands their heritage and culture needs. Which is why we're encouraging more black people and families to consider adopting. Many black children and those from mixed black Caribbean or black African heritage often wait longer to find new families due to a shortage of adopters. You can adopt as a single person, in relationship or marriage, and need to be a minimum of 21 years old. Well, we've got a great subject tonight. We're going to be looking at the subject of adoption and how, I would say, the black community can engage. And I've got two great guests with us tonight that's going to elaborate and bring us into that awareness. My guest is Audrey Boazizi, Regional Adoption Agency Leader for Adopt London, South London, and Dr. Pearl Jarrett, a businesswoman, a wife, a mother of 3. Now, before I go any further, I just want to read this because I think it's important just to set the backdrop on here as we're dealing with adoption. It's something that, as I said, goes through one ear and out of the other, but tonight, clarity is coming home. The latest You Can Adopt campaign aims to encourage more people from the black and mixed heritage background to adopt, offering a variety of support to help adopters along their journey. The National Church Leaders Forum and Churches Together in England unites in rallying churches to support parents on their adoption journey. And what I find fascinating is new data shows that 1 in 4 black Africans have had help with faith groups to raise their children. So my question goes straight to Audrey. Audrey, please elaborate. Please tell us a bit more about You Can Adopt campaign.
Love to. So the You Can Adopt campaign is a campaign that's aimed at raising awareness of adoption issues and making sure the ultimate aim is to increase the number of adopters for our children that are waiting for adoption. But this You Can Adopt campaign is also trying to highlight the support that's available to anybody that's interested in adoption, and that does come in a range of ways. So that's what the purpose of this campaign is. And
so that's the aim, just to bring that awareness and get people involved.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, you see, again, I'm sure light bulbs are switching on. In our community, our children, we all embrace them. They always used to say every child matters. Mm-hmm. But going back, I could remember when a child walked through the church doors or in that community, that child belonged to us. Mm-hmm. But we didn't think of what the process would be to actually adopt a child. Are you able to give us a little bit more information about that channel?
Absolutely. So yes, you're right to talk about all the, I say, informal community adoption that goes on. I think we've all grown up with an extra cousin in the house or somebody in the house, and we reach out and support, and we naturally tend to veer towards that, but we seem to shy away a little bit from the formal processes of adoption. And the process is there actually as a safeguard for our children. It's to make sure our children are going to be able to grow up in homes with adults around them that are resilient, adults that can help to support them and nurture them throughout their lifespan. It's not a 0 to 18 gig. Any parent will tell you it's for life, you know.
What's the fear, Audrey? What is the fear that if somebody from our community said, I want to adopt this child, what's the fear, or how would they know the correct channel in allowing for that to happen? How would you facilitate such things?
So anybody that's interested in adoption, it's a question of picking up the phone and getting in touch with somebody and talking about it. But we know there are lots of barriers. There are lots of things that stop people from making that first phone call.
Could you elaborate? 'Cause what are those barriers?
So some of those, I think we all, dare I say it, may be of a certain age where perhaps we grew up in households that advocated privacy and keeping your business to yourself.
Okay.
And not really talking about that. I remember having a plaque in my house. When you come here, what you see here stays here, or don't come back here. You know, so we're not accustomed to naturally talking about ourselves. And part of the adoption process does require you to talk a bit about your background, talk a bit about how you were raised. That might be good. That might be difficult, but it's not about judging that. It's about thinking about, actually, if it was a difficult childhood, what were your factors that helped you to overcome? What was the resilience that you showed? And how might that strength that you use be able to support another child that may be in a difficult situation?
Well, I'm coming to Pearl. I just wanted to know directly, Audrey, just before we get to Pearl, we're targeting Pacific Black families for Black children. Now, love, I would thought, is colourless. But what are the advantage placing a Black child with a Black family?
Right, so
it's still love, isn't it? If a white step forward, white person step forward, they want to give that love. But what's the difference? Why is it we're making this a campaign that we want Black families to step forward?
So we have a number of children waiting to be looked after in the UK. We've got about 2,000 children.
Wow.
And of those waiting to be adopted, I should say. So of those 2,000 children that are waiting, almost half of those have Black African, Black Caribbean or Black mixed heritage and are looking for permanent homes. And you're right, love is an amazing thing. It matters to a child. But actually, one of the things that we've learned along our journey is about that sense of identity, that sense of security, that sense of belonging to a community, that sense of understanding why if you're in a particular situation, people may react to a specific song in a certain way or, you know, it's all of those things, those cultural references that aren't easily taught. Right. So you want that child to grow up as close to their culture as they can for their sense of self-esteem, their sense of identity and rooting themselves in who they are.
So pushing a little bit further, the creaming of the skin, the plaiting of the hair, understanding the roots where they're coming from, identification. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I think that moves us on wonderfully to Pearl. I said, Pearl, I actually know that you're in that process, or you have adopted, and I'd like to know that you've adopted your daughter Amari. It's changed your whole life and your family. Give me an idea. What's the benefits as you have become a person who's adopted a child? Has it changed your life?
Immeasurably.
Wow.
I always say that we had an Amara-shaped hole in our family.
Oh.
And it wasn't a square or a triangle or anything. It was this weird shaped hole, and Amara just came and slotted straight into that. And she completes us.
That's beautiful.
She absolutely completes us. And I say that to her all the time, and she knows that without her, we weren't whole. She made us whole.
What pushed you towards moving down the road of adoption?
So I had these huge fibroids, these massive fibroids, and I always say my womb and my heart would not cooperate with each other.
Bless you.
They would not cooperate. I tried to make them cooperate, and they just wouldn't. So in the end, I went through trauma every month, and I just thought, I need to get my life back, Bishop. I needed to get my life back, and so the option was keep trying or get rid of the fibroids, and they would remove the womb altogether. So my husband said, I said, what should I do? He said, Pete, it's your body. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. I'm back you which way you decide. I'm here. And I said, and then he said, I mean, we could adopt. And he said it just so sort of, oh, we could adopt. And I went, oh. Now, we knew no one who had adopted, no one.
So you've never experienced it before?
No, we didn't know anyone that adopted. We weren't at no church service where they spoke about adoption. We'd never been to an adoption meeting. It was just some thought that just came almost like a bolt from the blue. And he said, and I went, yeah, I suppose. And I had this conversation with God.
So beautiful.
We was in the hospital, and I said to the surgeon, I said, look, take the womb, it's fine. I don't care what you do with it, sell it on eBay.
Oh.
And that's literally what I said to him.
That you're so open and candid.
I said, sell it on eBay. Oh. And I said, I've decided I'm going to adopt. But I said, Lord, we need to have a chat. So me and God had this conversation in the hospital. And I said to him, I said, okay, it is a shock to me that my womb will not cooperate with my heart. That is a shock to me. This is not a shock to you. So you knew from way back when, from before the foundation of the earth, that in 2002, I would not conceive another child. You knew that. So if you knew that, you know where she is, you know her name,
it's beautiful.
Where she comes from,
Absolutely.
You know everything about her. So all I need you to do is to order my footsteps.
Beautiful.
And that's what I said to them, just order my footsteps, because there is somebody that you have earmarked, you have picked out, and you said that in 2002, you will be in this house and I will make you the exact shape that you need with the exact hole that's in this family, and you will slot right in, and then mission accomplished.
Beautiful, absolutely. I mean, Audrey, how do you feel hearing that testimony? Because you're almost like a champion on that side, seeking families.
Seeking more pearls. Absolutely. You know, the word says, the man sold his field for the one pearl when he found the pearl of value. So we're looking for this pearl of value. And to hear that testimony, to hear it, it's absolutely beautiful to know that you trusted, you allowed yourself to be open to the idea of something that hadn't been in your realm. Yep. And I think that's what's really important about this conversation we're having today, because there are so many people that would never have thought about adoption. They might think, I don't live in the right house. I don't own my house. Maybe I haven't got enough room. Maybe I don't have enough money. Maybe I don't have a partner. There are so many people that can adopt, and I think because it's not something that we talk about in our community, particularly openly, it just becomes, it's not a secret per se, it's just not mentioned. So what we're doing here this evening, talking about adoption, I think we've got this opportunity to really get people thinking about it. And I would just reinforce, if anybody out there, any of you are thinking about it, contact your local adoption agency.
Right, look, let's move back. This is beautiful because this is open. Your husband said, let's adopt. So he didn't know.
Random thought when he said it.
He didn't understand the joining the dots. Didn't understand. But let's adopt. That's interesting. So how was your journey on that? How did you take that on board? Because, okay, what was your first step? What did you do? Why did you think it was right?
Initially, Bishop, it was literally because I wanted a girl. This was the whole, you know, what's the word?
Driving.
The drive. This was it, because I had two boys already, because I had twin boys.
Oh right.
Yeah. So it was my husband and I had twin boys, and it was just way too much testosterone in my house. I mean, it was just too much, and I just thought everything was about rugby and rugby boots, and I was just like, oh. I need somebody to talk to about hair and nails and handbags. This is what I wanted. I thought I want somebody I can go shopping with to Primark without them rolling their eyes in the corner. It was literally, that's all it was. And I just thought, I'm going to go ahead and do this because I felt there was something missing. I needed something else. So it was very, very selfish on my part when I first started down this journey. But Bishop, it just the supernatural kept happening. I don't know how they do it now, but back then, I don't know how they do that, but they had this newspaper, this big newspaper, and they had photographs of the children in the newspaper, and I'm sure they don't do it like that now. And I remember my sister goes, oh, I don't like this. It looks like an Argos catalogue, And we were looking through these pictures of children, pages and pages.
For adoption?
Adoption.
I remember that,
photographs of children in this big newspaper.
I think so, yes.
And they were waiting to be matched with families. So we were going through and then I'm looking down the page and I hear the Holy Spirit say, there she is. And I went, what? And he said, Erod, I think the Holy Spirit just said, there she is. It's her, this one here. So I didn't think I'd completely lost my mind, right? I called up a friend of mine. Well, she's a prophetess in America.
Okay.
So I called her up and I said, I think I heard the Lord said, there she is. I'm looking at this little girl in the newspaper and she describes Amara. She describes the picture. Wow. From her hair, her cheeks, her everything. I see her running up and down in your house, just running. When Amara came, all she would do was just run through the house. And I was like, careful, hot things. And she had no brakes or anything. And she saw all of this.
That's great.
All of this. So every step of the way, I have so many of these where I just got confirmation after confirmation after confirmation that God was in the whole thing. So there was just a peace.
That's beautiful. That is really good. Oh, all right. Oh, wow. Let's keep this rolling. So it works. It brings peace. It met your heart's desire. Yeah. So adoption works. Okay. Audrey, what's the next step? How do you put in support for the individual? So they find someone that fits their hearts. What's the next supportive measure for allowing that to be done in the right direction?
So the whole process of adoption, it's a bit technical and might be a little bit boring, but actually it's a very highly skilled piece of work, and we go through something called a matching process. Mm-hmm. So that's when, in this instance, Amara would have been matched to Pearl, and there are a few meetings that take place, and then, the dates are all set, and then, Amara comes to live in Pearl's house. But actually the support that goes along is that there's a social worker that's assigned and will work alongside the family right up until the point of the adoption order.
How long is that process?
That can vary. For some people, what happens after a child has lived with you for 10 weeks, you can then put in your application to adopt. But then it varies in length of time dependent on court processes and everything else. So, it could be as simple as, maybe within 14 weeks, this child becomes legally yours, has a new identity, has a new name, would take on, Pearl's surname, and that's how that would be. So it does take a while, but you have a social worker that probably you got to know quite well, I should imagine.
Too well.
But it's, just there to be, just to offer that input, that guidance, the hand holding, because whether you're an experienced parent or you've never parented before, bringing a child into your home in this way, and it's so very permanent, and thinking about where our children are coming from. There's a reason our children are available for adoption, because sadly their parents were not in a position to be able to give them that nurture, love and care that we would want them to have. So they may have had some difficult early experiences.
I'll tell you what, let's go for a commercial break, yes? And we're going to come back right after this, yes?
Absolutely.
We're going to come back after this.
It's really important to have a support network. all the time. So don't think that you only have it in the beginning and then it's gone. Don't think that, oh gosh, once the child comes now, it's all on me and suppose I get it wrong. No, 20 years down the road, you can still be pulling on support and people will still be there to help you. I completely agree. I'd say it's really important to build your network of support, whether that's friends and family, and you can bring in other people as and when you need to. We had a proper village. I mean, when they say it takes a village to bring up a child, yeah, we put a proper village in place. But if you need to get professional help, then get professional help. There's no shame in getting professional help. That's what it's there for. You know, that doesn't mean that you failed in any way. It's there for that reason, so tap into it if you need to.
Welcome back to our community engagement program. Hasn't it been brilliant? Learning the whole idea of the importance of adoption and how it can be done through these great ladies that have just explained the journey, and also Dr. Pearl having experienced it, and Audrey talking to us about the process. Now look, you may be thinking about this, it may have got you thinking, it's something that you've always wanted to do or get more information and you didn't know what to do. But tonight, this particular program has maybe just awakened some things in your mind. But anyway, look, we're going to go a bit further on this because I'm learning myself. Audrey, let me go back to you. Audrey, the process. Talk to us again about the process. Somebody like Pearl who made that decision, that's the child for me. Explain again the process in seeing that child to adopt.
So the process would be that once Pearl picked up the phone, she was asked some questions. A social worker would have gone to visit her in her home, found out a little bit more about her. So that's what we call the assessment process. So throughout the assessment process, there are a number of visits that go on. We talk to people that know you well, that can tell us about how fabulous you are and how wonderful you are. You know, we take up references, we find out a little bit more about you, and our process is robust and it's rigorous. And I don't want to shy away from that. No. And we make no apology for that, because what we have is very vulnerable children.
Yes.
We want to make sure we're not taking them from a difficult situation
and putting them
into another difficult situation. That's right. So I make no apology for the robustness of it, but I do realise that sometimes this might be something that's a bit of a barrier. This might be the thing that makes people think, I don't want to get into sharing all of my business. Now, we're not nosy for the sake of being nosy. This is not a question of, I'm going to treat your life like an episode of EastEnders or Coronation Street. Yeah. It literally is just about drawing out your strengths, understanding what's made you the person that you are, and what it is that you can give to the child to make sure that they can have a really good life.
But you're there all the way, aren't you? The supportive measures are there to support that. We
are there. There is training available. There are workshops available. There's opportunities to build networks with other people on the journey. So at different stages of your journey, before you're an approved adopter, you get access to a fair bit of training, bit of information. We direct you to things to watch, to read, different ways of gathering more information. And then when you're an approved adopter, that opens up even more. There's more that you're able to access.
Well, Pearl, you've done that. You identified the journey.
Yeah.
What's the rewards of this journey? And how does your daughter, Amara, how does she see you and Dad? Give us that joy element of the journey.
So, as I said, she completes us, and she knows that. I've said to her time and time again from the beginning, I said, my boys, I birthed them out of my womb, but you, I birthed out of my heart.
So
No.
That's so touching. You're going to say it to that camera again, the difference. Well, it's not a difference, but explain it again. Okay. What adoption does. Yeah. Do it again.
Because Amara, as an adopted child, sometimes growing up, she would feel like, oh, why didn't they fight for me? Why didn't they keep me? Why did they give me away? And you have to address all of these issues. But she's known, one of the things that's kept her is that she's always known God has a hand on everything. He had a hand in her coming to us, and it's for a reason. And as much as she might feel, well, you birthed, my brothers. I said, yeah, I birthed them out of my womb, but you, I birthed out of my heart.
It's so beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that settles her. So how has she adjusted to you now? Is that statement like the conclusion that this is mum, I'm home, I'm loved, I'm supported?
She absolutely feels at home.
That's right.
And the thing is, because, I always say, when a child is in the care system, their life is heading in one direction.
Yeah.
And it's going to end up over there. It's going to end up, through the care system, or, from trouble to trouble to trouble, and maybe prison and die. Do you know what I'm saying? So what needs to happen is that they need to encounter something that's going to change the trajectory of their life and send them over there. So encountering good people, good families, and particularly Christian families. Somebody's going to speak life into them. Somebody's going to cover them with the blood. Somebody's going to pray protection. Somebody's going to say, you are somebody. Because these children, they don't get to hear that. When they encounter that, it totally changes the trajectory of their life. So they come to you with all kinds of trauma. As Audrey was saying, because they're in the care system for a reason. They've been extracted from where they are for a reason. So they come to you. So what we do now is that God has chosen us.
Yes.
I felt God has absolutely chosen me and said, I'm trusting you with Amara because
beautiful.
I need her to be over here. At the moment she's traveling over there, I need to be over here. So I need you to be a part of her life, to do all the things that you do with your own children, to bring her over here because I've got something over here in her destiny.
So adopting is so important.
It is so
you
important.
are changing the course of their life by giving them some direction, love and support, and allowing them to emerge to the child or the person they were meant to be.
And this is why it's important that the church steps forward. See, last year I was in the adoption campaign and we were just trying to get more black families to adopt. This year I became an ambassador for Home for Good, which is a Christian fostering adoption agency.
Beautiful.
And they wanted more black Christians to step forward because it's proven when they come into the life of a Christian, the environment, it becomes way more positive on a whole nother level than not.
I got you.
So, the child then, and who is to say, Bishop, that a child that comes into your life and you change their trajectory, that you're not enabling the next bishop to emerge?
Of course, I've supported that. We just whole step forward. Why don't more black adopters come forward to adopt? Pearl did. She burst open the doors.
She did.
And she did it.
As I do.
Is there a why? Why? What is it? Why?
The reason why I think that they don't, you've touched on some really great points. I mean, about us being very, very private and we don't want to check out our business because the process can be quite intrusive. But I think part of the problem is because we don't have these conversations. I don't remember, unless they've had them when I've not been there, but I don't remember the church having conversations about fostering an adoption. So maybe the penny hasn't dropped because it's just not something that you've considered. You see, somebody like me now, I'm used to being a pioneer. Lots of things I've done, I've been the first. I've been the first to do this. I've been the first black person to do this, first woman to do that, first person on the board. So doing something first, for me, is not unusual.
Right.
But lots of people, they like to see somebody else has done it.
Yes.
And they've got point of reference. And they said, oh, Pearl's done that. Oh, maybe I could do that. But, you know, we have to have these discussions. And I don't think it's a taboo subject.
No.
I just think
I
we've
don't think
just
so.
not done it. You know?
And I think you're right. And part of the thing with adoption as well, where we don't want to other our children, our adopted children, we don't want them to feel different all the time. So actually, when you've adopted your child, you don't necessarily want to be singing that from the rooftops. You want to go off and be your family. So we may not have those conversations. You might have it with your nearest and dearest and your closest. But actually, we don't sit and advocate and talk about, you know, adoption has changed my life in this way. Adoption has impacted my family in this way. We don't do that as a matter of course. So you're right. There's something about the conversations that we don't have. There's something also about how we're looking for people, how we're seeking to identify people. But also our understanding has grown over the years. The social factors that brought children to adoption years and years ago are very, very different to what they are now. So I think, you know, before in the 50s, 60s, you might be talking about unwed mothers, and it was social stigma and shame. So you couldn't keep your child. But you would have looked after that child up until the point you gave birth, and maybe the child went to live elsewhere.
You can see. Pearls, we're going to go to a commercial break, right? Hold it there on the cliffhanger. This is awesome. We'll be right back after this.
This is the notices for Acts Christian Church for this week.
Come as you are and feel the blessings of our Lord every Sunday, 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at Acts Christian Church, where we provide family worship and an uplifting sermon. Acts Christian Church services are at Falsham Hall, 2 Falsham Road, Thornton Heath, CR7 8LQ. You can also find us on all socials on Acts Christian Church. We look forward to seeing you this Sunday. Come as you are and feel the blessings of our Lord every Sunday, 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at Acts Christian Church, where we provide family worship and an uplifting sermon. Acts Christian Church services are at Falsham Hall, 2 Falsham Road, Thornton Heath, CR7 8LQ. You can also find us on all socials on Acts Christian Church.
Why not join the Gospel Train on Saturdays 7 till 10 on vibesfm.net. You'll hear great gospel music from Gospel Kid, the word from our Bishop Mark Nicholson, and the classic sweep from Pastor Lloyd Anthony Hall. The Gospel Train, Saturdays at 7 till 10 a.m. on vibesfm.net.
Well, I told you that tonight's subject is going to be incredible. I know many of you out there are thinking about this. Just then we went to a commercial break. We left Pearl on a cliffhanger. Pearl, it's over to you.
Yeah.
Come on.
When Amara was growing up, we deliberately never discussed her as the adopted child.
Oh, that's good.
We didn't, because as far as I was concerned, I had 3 children. They would get in trouble. All of them would, you get grounded like everybody else, and all that kind of stuff. So we never spoke about the A word. That's what we used to call it in our house.
Adoption.
And it was no, because as far as I was concerned, we had 3 children.
That's beautiful.
And you were just as much my child as these 2 are my children. So it wasn't until, strangely enough, it was last year when we were going to do, 2 years ago, they asked us, would we do the you can adopt campaign? So I said no, I don't, because I thought no, I don't know, no, I don't think so. And I turned it down. They came back again the following year, which was last year. And I said, no, I don't think, because I thought to myself, do I really want to be talking about letting people know she's adopted? And Amara said to me, Mum, I think you should do it. And I said, really? And she says, yes. I said, why? Why? She says, because there are so many children out there that deserve to have a good home like me.
Oh.
Wow.
That's why I did it.
Like me.
Like me. She says there are so many people, so many children still stuck in the system who deserve a good home like me.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
And then she went out, she got her first job, and she got her first job with this Caribbean restaurant. And when she got her first money, she came home with a big bunch of flowers. So I said, oh, they give you a bunch of flowers for your first day. She says, no, I just got paid. And I said, my first money, I'm gonna buy you a bunch of flowers to say thank you for just being such a great mum.
Wow.
It was like a tithe.
This is so beautiful. Absolutely. There's the rewards of saying that child fits my criteria, our family, I love you. And that's how she expresses, thank you for adopting me. I mean, isn't that music to your ears?
Oh, absolutely. I think, we
beautiful.
never ever expect our children to kind of thank us, do we? We give birth to our children. They didn't ask to be here. But it's lovely when they show the appreciation and the recognition, because there's so much that we instill in our children. And I think that's what we want. We want more pearls. They might not look like pearl. You might not be the same shape. You might not be the same size. It might not be the same makeup.
Only one pearl.
But whatever you've got, bring it. You've got something that you can bring. Yeah. We've all got something to contribute.
Well, that moves us lovely on to the next. Who is eligible for adoption? What's the criteria? Is there pearls out there like this? I suppose everyone is a pearl.
There's
special.
a pearl somewhere.
So what's the eligibility for you to be in a position to adopt?
So it's probably a lot broader than most people think. If you are over 21.
Okay.
You can adopt. There isn't an upper age limit. There's not an upper age limit on adoption. If you rent your home, if you own your home, pick up the phone and call us. Don't have lots and lots of barriers. We want to make sure that there's, even if you've got a criminal record, you can still pick up the phone and call us, as long as it's nothing to do with hurting children or hurting vulnerable people. Then of course pick up the phone and call us. We made mistakes in our youth sometimes, misdemeanors, these things follow us, but that's all right, because it's about the trajectory and what you've learned on the way since. So that's really important. Yeah, so there's an opportunity for, absolutely, if that's kind of what's needed and required to kind of get children into homes, because those packages are attached to the children's needs. So if I have all the right criteria to look after a child, but it might be a bit difficult because I may not have the space, maybe my local authority can assist me in trying to get the right space so that I can bring this child into my home.
So what's the next step? If somebody's hearing this program right now and say, you know what, I love that. The next step, as far as you're saying, is pick up the phone, email.
Drop us a line. youcanadopt.co.uk/black adopters. Just contact somebody, reach out, somebody will get in touch with you. If you're interested in it, please don't sit on your hands, don't think about it, but think about it with someone that can help you on the journey, someone that can explain everything that's going on, the person that's going to talk to you and help you to find out, is this right for me? Is this right for me now? It may not be right now, but at that time, at that appointed time, you'll have the information you need. You'll get the guidance that you need to kind of find out the right information. You'll be talking to the right people, and they will be walking alongside you to navigate you through that journey.
I have a website.
You have I'm coming right to you, girl. You really excited me here, because these are such great testimonies, and they speak for themselves. How has your life so much adjusted by this beautiful daughter of yours coming into your life because you did exactly that? You adopted her. What's changed your world? And what would you say to anybody watching that this is the best way to go in adopting a child? How would you describe it?
When I look at Amara, I have just so much joy. A beam goes across my face. Because she's coming home tomorrow, so she's been away on a placement year, and she's working in Holland with a medical company.
Beautiful.
And she works 3 days a week for the medical company. The other 2 days, she's taught herself how to code. So she's done 8 certificates in her spare time, whilst working for a medical company. She is just bright. She is just, she's clever in every way. She's funny. She loves the Lord. I look at her and I just think, wow, wow. And for me, it just makes the whole thing worthwhile, because it took so long for me to get her. You talking about the process. My process was terrible. I mean, when we first went to get her matched, and they said, they came to see us, and they said, oh, they were so happy. Woo, black professionals. Oh, they almost took my arm off. And they said, oh, you know, we're gonna get you, we're gonna fast track you, you're gonna be through here in no time, couple of months. You know, and I was like, wow, okay, lovely, woo. And then the Victoria Climbié scandal happened. When a child got killed in a home, and everything changed. And they dotted every I 25 times. They crossed every T 50 times.
I can imagine.
And the 3-month process turned into 2.5 years. And I had to keep my eyes on the prize, knowing that God has already spoken, He's already shown me this little girl, I'm not going back now. So we just went through and it was long and it was intrusive. But it was, when I look at Mara now, it's worth every day, every hour, every form we had to fill in again. I was like, cut and paste, please cut and paste. They're like, no, we can't do that. You need to tell us this information again. I'm like, oh God.
I'm so proud and happy I've been educated, but I'm going to give you the last word, both of you, and I want you to look in that camera and speak to someone who may be contemplating, thinking about doing what you did.
Yeah. I would say to you, you might never have thought about it. Maybe this is the first time you're hearing about it. Why are you listening? Of all the people in all the world, you could be doing anything. Why are you sitting and watching this show? Nothing in the kingdom is random. He's ordering your footsteps. It might not be something you do today, but the seed has been planted, and you can start a journey by picking up the phone, have a conversation, because who's to say, as I said before, that God hasn't assigned you to bring up the next bishop out of the system and say, I have a plan for his life or her life, and I'm going to entrust them with you. So I have a website. Well, it's not really my website, but I'm an ambassador for a Christian fostering adoption agency, and they're called Home for Good. And you can contact them on homeforgood.org.uk and talk to somebody, and they will help you on your journey.
Thank you so much. And can't leave you out as well as the, making sure that this message gets around, and we're hoping listening to this program helps. What would you like to say to the viewers as well?
I would just like to say, I think our community are not unaccustomed to adoption. We're unaccustomed to the formality of the process. Let's get out of our comfort zone. If you want to walk on water, you have to get out of the boat. So come on.
It's good.
Pick up the phone, contact us, get in touch with the email. Something new could be happening, and you could actually be shaping your own child's life. The same way we've heard about Dr. Pearl talking about her family and her journey. That could be your testimony, that could be your story. We would love to hear from you if you feel that you've got some love, space, and some resilience to offer our children, because our children are out there waiting for you.
That's right.
Well, I'm left to say is thank you very much, Audrey and Pearl. It's been a delight. I've learned so much. And for those that are watching, move out and make sure a child can be home for good.
Amen.
Thank you for watching. I hope that this program has really spoken to you. And please make sure we put all the details out that you're able to follow up this, because who knows, a child could be waiting for you. Thank you for watching, and remember, you are the head and not the tail.
Acts Christian Church, where you're the head and not the tail.